All right, you guys, so now we're doing another frame rate testing video, and this time we're gonna do it with Resident Evil 4. The first video I put out on this game was just more of a visual check. I just wanted to see how the game looked. And while I was recording that video, I did mention that the frame rates looked like, they were probably running a little above 60 or right at 60. Well, in this particular video, we're going to go ahead and do some frame rate checks with some actual evidence, okay? So what's going to happen is I'm going to use my monitor's settings. It doesn't have a designated frame counter, but it does have a frame counter when you pull up the menu, which is right there. So at the very bottom, you could see it, the FPS. Hopefully the camera's picking that up clearly enough for you to see. But in any case, we're going to go ahead and do some testing. In order to do that, we actually have to go back out to the main menu to make any graphical changes, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's not the end of the world. Now we're gonna go over to display. First, we're gonna check resolution mode. We're gonna check the difference between resolution mode and frame rate mode. But the big difference is gonna be whether ray tracing is on or off, okay? Because that makes a significant difference. If you've done any gaming on PC, you know that ray tracing is actually quite taxing on the GPU and it takes up a lot of resources, and therefore you have to give up frame rates in order to get the ray tracing visuals. So with that being said, let's start with resolution mode and then on, and then we're gonna also do ray tracing on and off in this mode. Then we'll go to frame rate mode and we will do ray tracing on and off there as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the game. While the game is loading, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the frame menu here. And as you can see in resolution mode, we're getting about roughly a low 80s frame rate here. So it does jump up to about 90 or the high 80s as we pan around. And you get with these rocks here. Now, if I go down a little bit and we take a look further down, you can see it drops back down to 80, but we're getting about a solid 80 to 90 frames here, which is fantastic for a console, right? Because one of the big things is that the console was gonna run at 60 frames, but you were gonna get 4K visuals. And, I don't have a doubt that this is probably native 4K. And then in the resolution mode, they're probably using some PSSR. But I'm gonna just go back and forth up here really quickly. I'm not gonna go too much into the game. I'm not gonna disturb the zombies yet because I want to just check the frame rate here. So let me bring it back up. It will go, the frame menu will go away after a couple of minutes here. So I do have to bring it back up. It won't stay there. But this is pretty solid. Resolution mode with ray tracing on. So if you are a visual snob and you want the best possible visuals in this game, understand you're gonna get fantastic frames here, okay? So that is way more than we expected to see in quality mode. So let's go ahead and go back out. Now, all we're gonna do is turn ray tracing off, but we're gonna stay in quality mode, okay? So display, resolution mode. Resolution mode, quality mode, it's the same. Let's just turn ray tracing off. Let's go back out. And I'm just gonna reset the menu real quick. Okay, now we are sitting at a mid 90 frame rate, okay? 95, 94, 96. And when we loaded this game up with ray tracing on, we were right in the low 80s, okay? So we've gained 15 FPS simply by turning ray tracing off. That's huge. Look at this. We're getting huge jumps here when we pan around. I mean, that is incredible. We're getting over 100 frames. Now, I know there was a lot of talk about this game hitting 120. We're not seeing it here. Hopefully, if we're lucky enough, we'll actually hit that mark in the performance mode. But this looks really good. This is quite impressive. So, if you want a really solid visual experience and you want to get a couple more frames out of the game in resolution mode, then this is definitely the mode for you. You could turn ray tracing off and gain an extra 15 to 20 FPS. So here we are at around 100, high 90s. So this is looking really good, you guys. This is really, really good for a console. Really, really good. Yeah. I mean, it's hitting 100 frames. And it's doing it well. There are some dips. But man, that's really, really impressive, you guys. All right, let's go ahead and go back out. We're going to go back into the settings. Of course, we got to go to the main menu to do that. We already mentioned that part. Go back into options, go back to display. Let's go to frame rate mode. And we're going to turn ray tracing back on, okay? I didn't think you could actually use ray tracing in frame rate mode in this game because in Spider-Man, you can't do that. If you turn frame rate on Spider-Man, you cannot change any of the ray tracing functions in that game. So the fact that we can do this in Resident Evil 4 is pretty good. Now I understand that I understand that it's, yeah, we want it to be on. Now I understand it's an older game and whatnot, but the fact that you can do that is a pleasant surprise, actually. All right, so we're back in the game. Let's bring up the menu again. So we're back at the low 80s, you guys, okay? In performance mode and with ray tracing on, we do lose frames here. And that's compared to resolution mode, okay? It's actually about the same. It really is. It was in the low 80s when we fired up resolution mode with ray tracing on. And in performance mode with ray tracing on, it's about the same. Now, the visuals are still looking very solid. Obviously, we're getting some PSSR upscaling here, so it looks really good still in performance mode. But yeah, we're at mid to low 80s. Oh, we got to jump there to the 90s. But we're definitely not hitting 100 frames yet. So in any case, I find that to be a little interesting. I thought I thought we would get better frame rates there. So let's go ahead and quit the game back out. I'll bring up the monitor menu here in just a second. Ray tracing off, frame rate mode. So hopefully we can hit at least 110, right? I mean, that's we should be hopeful in that regard. Again, this is performance mode, right? So we're always hoping for the best frame rates here. They should always be higher than resolution mode. At least that's the common logic here. Okay. We got the menu up. We are in the mid 90s. I think we were just right at the low 90s in resolution mode. So roughly about the same. We're hitting 110 pretty easily there as we pan around. Let's go up and down the walkway here. 90s, 100s, 100s, mid 90s. Yeah, I think we were hitting the 100s in resolution mode a little bit. I think we were getting slightly higher frames in resolution mode with ray tracing off. So this is very interesting. But if you're looking to play this game and get over or right around 100 frames, you guys, then I don't think it matters which mode you're in. Just turn ray tracing off and you'll get the best frame rates possible in this game, which is mid 90s to the 110s. So if you're a frame rate snob, then just turn ray tracing off in this game. Let's go back out and just make sure we were in the correct settings because I am doing a lot of rambling here, and I actually had a motorcycle go by, so I had to pause the video really quickly. Yeah, ray tracing's off, frame rate. So listen, I don't think it matters which visual priority you're in. Just turn ray tracing off and you will get the highest frames. Honestly, based on this information and what I'm seeing here, if I'm going to play this game, I'm probably going to play in resolution mode with ray tracing off. That's just me. I'm going to get the best visual experience. And with that little generic testing we did there, I mean, we're gonna stay at right around 100 frames. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. Listen, this channel's pretty new. We just started this channel, so we want to differentiate ourselves a little bit. We're not going to really be the ones to asking for subscriptions and likes in our videos. So, but if you find the content useful, you know what to do. We'll check you out. Peace.